Hey, it's Luke. The more time I spend using Ableton Move, the more features I discover that people just aren't talking about. Here are 10 things that you didn't know Ableton Move can do, and number 3 is my favorite. The first is fine increments for groove. If you're working on a track and you're thinking 25% groove just isn't groovy enough, and 30 is way too much, you can hit shift while you move this and get the exact number you want. And if it's extremes you're looking for, apparently 100% is the perfect triplet. More than 100% exaggerates beyond a 16th triplet swing. So you can go more than 100% groove. There's a lot of stuff you can do on here. Number 2 is automation for specific steps. So if we take this snare and this clap, and we want the second one to be higher, we go here, you press on the step itself, and we'll bring it up 5 semitones. We'll do the same thing for this clap. Bring it up 5. You can tell that it's going up and down. It adds some variation to your track. It can be really useful for hi-hats where you can transpose them all to a different amount. This might be a little extreme, but you get what I'm saying. Number 3 is something that I discovered by mistake. If you press shift and you press on the big scroll wheel, you have the main bank, which is these here, the detune, attack, hold, all of these. But then you can switch to this, and you've got all these different options. So you've got filter frequency. So you've got a filter built right into your drum kit. You've got the choke settings, velocity settings, and even the panning. So this won't work on everything. It'll work on the drum kits, where you've got the main bank and the filter and setup. And it'll work on the melodic sampler, where in this case, you've got the main bank and setup only has these 2 options, the filter type and the envelope mode. If you're going through the manual, search parameter banks, and it's got this whole section where you're able to see what your different options are based on the instrument you're using, and it's a nice way to see everything at once. The thing I like about this is it leaves a bunch of options down the road for upgrades, and maybe they can do something with these extra encoders, especially on the melodic sampler. Number 4 is zooming in to adjust your sample start. If we have a sound like this one, you can tell there's a little bit at the beginning that we might want to get rid of. Usually we'll go here, and we've got this. But if you hit shift while you're using the second encoder, it zooms in to the exact point that you want. So this is normal and this is zoomed in. Especially with a vocal sample or things like that where you need that detail, you can adjust your sample with surgical precision. So that was the start of a sample. What about the end? You might have been doing this, the decay, and it's not cutting off enough of what you need if you want to make this a shorter sample. If you press shift while you press the decay encoder, you've got the length here. So you're able to shorten it pretty well to what you need. The only thing it doesn't have is the sample fade. So you might notice you've got a little click at the end. So you might have to play around with this or play around with the decay itself and see if you can work between the 2 and get that sounding right. So you might have been using this capture button like a lot of us do, where you're playing a track and then you make a few little changes here and you press the button and it overdubs it and loads it into the clip. But when you're starting out a track, this capture button does something magical. So this is an empty set, and I'm going to go here and just play. When I hit this capture button, because the transport wasn't running, it will actually adjust to the tempo that you just played. It'll give you a few different options here. This is either 97, 129, or 138. As you can tell, the speed of your playing doesn't actually change with these. It's basically just trying to figure out what it is that you have. So the best way to do it here is to turn on the metronome. You can tell this one's way off. We'll go to the higher one. This one's way off as well. Let's try 97. There we go. We quantize it, and this is perfect. The only thing it doesn't have that I wish it did is if you've got a beat at 75 BPM, Some people use it as 150, some people run it at 75. It doesn't have the option for double or half, so if you need to change that, you might have to bring it into Ableton Live and adjust it there. There's another thing about capture a lot of people don't know about. If you adjust the automation, it will capture that as well. So if we do this, and we're doing this, and we like that adjustment, we just press it here, and that filter automation is recorded now. Number 7 is note transposition an octave at a time on the step mode. So if we want to take this first note and transpose it up 3 semitones, you can press the button for the step and press the up arrow 3 times. And you can sort of tell here, instead of being here, it's playing this now. So you can tell how that first note is higher now. Let's bring it back down to what we had. If we want to bring that a full octave up, you can press a step and then you press the plus or minus, but you hold it down for a little while and you can tell where it just skipped there. So all of a sudden it's a whole octave up. So that can help you make some larger changes on these notes really easily. It'll work on multiple steps as well. So if you want to bring these 2 up as well, you hold it until it changes, and so that can make it so much easier to change your notes after you recorded them. The next one is for editing notes as well. You can change the length of the notes once you've recorded them. So if we play this, and if we want that first note to be longer, you press down the step and you press any of these to decide how long you want the note. So if we go here, we can do the same thing with this one. We can make this one much longer. You can change it afterwards as well. And then it can be useful to make some adjustments, especially with strings or leads or bass. Okay, so number 9 is related to automation. If we just record this, and we decide that we don't want the automation right now, but we don't want to delete it, we can mute the actual automation. So you just press the mute button and press your 2 automations, and now it's just playing normally. And then if we press them again, you've got that variation from the automation that we recorded a few seconds ago. So that's a nice way to record some automation, maybe put it aside, do some other stuff, and then bring it back in later. Okay, this last one is something that I love doing. If you're using repeat and you're doing it like this, that's okay, but it sounds a little bit boring. One thing a lot of people don't know is this repeat feature actually has Aftertouch. So if you let go of the button a little bit and you press it down, and it'll get louder and more quiet. So listen to the difference now. I love how that sounds. The only thing is, you got to remember, you want to make sure that this full velocity is off, because if you have it on, the Aftertouch does nothing. I hope you're having fun with your Ableton Move. If I've forgotten anything and there's anything you discovered that you just love to use, let me know in the comments. I always enjoy hearing how people are using this thing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.